All right, ladies and gentlemen, in this training, we're going to be breaking down the numbers behind generating your own leads. And I want to show you guys some cool stuff because, ultimately we call this training how to make six figures selling life insurance. And I want to actually break down what those numbers look like. So this training is going to be a little bit of a blend of like reverse engineering how you can make like six figures selling insurance. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about some lead generation stuff as well. I see LaShawn is on here. Welcome, welcome. Shout out to you for showing up for yourself and investing in your own knowledge in the business. Julian, how you doing, my man?
I've literally never been better. This is the best day of
Never?
my life. Not
Me
once.
either, man. Can't complain, and everything's going great. So, cool, guys. I'm going to share my screen, and I basically want to walk you guys through. This is something that we do with all of our clients to kind of like figure out what they need to do in order to hit their income goals, right? So I see we got a couple people on here. Somebody drop in, what is your income goal? Like, what do you want to make selling insurance? When I say income goal, I don't mean AP. I don't mean, how much do you want to sell a month? I mean like net after chargebacks, expenses, everything. What do you want to make? Because ultimately that's what actually matters. Somebody drop in your income goal, and then we're going to kind of reverse engineer this. I'm going to break it down as far as the actual numbers in order to hit your goals. Julian, do you have a blank screen, or is Kelly Shooker just having tech issues?
I would definitely call her service provider because it's not a black screen for me.
All right. I see net tax income of $1 million. So I love that. That's awesome. However, I will say this. As a personal producer selling life insurance over the phone, netting $1 million is going to be pretty tough. What I usually see is like this opportunity usually caps out around the like 350 to 500K mark. If you're going to get to $1 million, you're probably going to be building a team. So what I'm going to show here is specific for personal production. So if we could get like a personal production number somewhere between the range of like 100K to like, 250. Here we go. We got 250. Cool. So this is a sheet that we created for our clients. And basically what you do here is we're going to put in your income goal, which you said was 250K, right? Let me zoom in a little bit here. So commission rate, right? This is basically just what are you getting paid from the policies you sell, right? So let's say your commission rate is about 100%. Your retention rate, which means what percentage of policies stay on the books and don't charge back. Let's say this is 75%. We'll just be conservative. Would you agree with that number, Julian?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So we'll put 75% there. Now, this is something that a lot of people get confused on, or they're like surprised by this number, is the average policy size of about $1,200. So what we see with Facebook ads and when you're generating your own leads and like doing everything online, your average policy size tends to be a bit higher, right? Julian, what was your average policy size? Was like 1,300 or something, right?
It was 1488 after we booted Bama.
Okay. Yeah. So like whenever someone tells me like their average policy size is like $50 a month, it's like $600. There's something wrong, like every single time. So who here, like you guys are watching this, because this is like a very important stat. If your average policy size is way low, like that's going to affect everything else. And you're just doing the same work to make less money. So like who here, like actually not even that, just drop your average policy size in the chat. I want to see what you guys are getting here on the call. And then I can also kind of walk through some of the strategies that we use to help people boost this. So yeah, average policy size is a major point of leverage, because if you're making $600 per policy you sell and I'm making $1,200 per policy I sell, I can do the exact same amount of work as you and I'm going to make double the money. It's like just simple math, right? So while you guys are dropping the average policy size in there, the next number I'm going to move over to is called dials per sale. So this is Yes. Total annual premium. Correct. 70 to 80 bucks a month. Yeah. So that's a good spot, right? Like if you're at about, that's like 900 to 1,000. So 1,000 plus, and you're in a good spot. I'm going to use 1,200 as the example here, right? Now, dials per sale. This is how many phone calls does it take you to get somebody to buy, right? If I make X amount of dials, I make one sale. That's what dials per sale is. It's like, it's very easy to calculate this number because you just take how many dials did you make and you divide it by how many sales you made. So if you're using like a power dialer, what I found is if you're under like 200 dials per sale, that means that you can easily average one sale or 1.5 sales per day, right? That's kind of how the numbers break out. So, some of our clients, they'll have like 100 dials per sale, which means literally they get 100 dials off and they're selling a policy every single 100 dials. A lot of people that I talk to that are like doing things the wrong way, their dials per sale will be like, what's the highest that you've ever seen, Julian?
Over 2,000.
Over 2,000 dials per sale. Meaning
And that was a decent rep too, just to be totally clear, but they just it was just a nightmare.
Yeah. This is usually going to be like a good indicator of how good you are at converting people is your dials per sale. The lower this is, the better.
Your system also contributes to this. I did want to add that because, like, for example,
yeah, true.
Tim and I were working on things, and it was taking me, I think my average dial per sale for a while was close to 1,000.
Oh,
but the problem, it might have been a little bit over for a while, but the problem was I was marked as spam likely. So I would have to make, I don't know if you remember this, Tim, but I was making like 550 phone calls per day plus oftentimes. Like there was days I made 700 and some phone calls. And it wasn't that like I was just like killing myself making phone calls. I was, but also like when nobody picks up, it's easier to make more phone calls. And so I was just spamming phone calls like all day long and like nothing would happen. I was so proud of my phone call numbers. I was like, no one will outcall me, but I just was sucking more than other people because I hadn't invested into the system yet. And ultimately I hadn't learned how to get around that obstacle. And so those are the 2 indicators.
Yeah, 100%. Does anybody here like actually track your dials per sale? Like, do you guys track these numbers? Do you know these numbers? It's okay if you don't, because ultimately, like, if you don't know, it's not really your fault. But now that you do know, it's your responsibility to do it so that you can get where you need to get. But who here is currently tracking their dials per sale? I'm just curious.
Yeah. Does anybody know their DPS?
Yeah, it's like the miles per gallon on a car, but for an insurance agent, basically. It's usually the way that I explain it.
That's a great explanation. I'm going to use that.
Yeah, thank you. Let's see. So it looks like a couple people know their dials per sale. Okay, yes. Wow, awesome. So Jill's actually tracking this number. LaShawn, dang, we got a freaking good group on here today, Julian. Usually this is like, no, I don't even know what that means. I don't even, make dials, whatever. Right?
You guys must be following advanced agent marketing.
Yeah, 100%.
I see y'all.
100%. Yeah, Corey, 100%. Dials per sale went from like 650 to 200 in 2 weeks. Yeah, it's crazy. So this next number is called PPL, right? So what this is PPL means premium per lead, right? So basically like premium per lead is like how much AP did you write divided by how many leads did you take. So this is kind of another like way of measuring your efficiency, but it's going to be a better like way to determine how much you're profiting. So the higher that this number is, the more money you're making, right? Obviously, because if I'm writing in premium $100 per lead that I get, and I'm paying $10 a lead for easy round math, then I'm basically 10xing my money, right? Obviously, we got to take out chargebacks and whatever, but roughly I'm 10xing my money, which is a really, really, really good spot to be at. Who here tracks PPL currently, or has like some number that's similar to this?
Throw a comment in the comments that says PPL.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody actually has this just based off of that initial response. of people actually knowing their dials and dials per sale.
Is this calculator out there, like on the web? Like, do you have this available to people or no?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yep.
cool.
Yep. You guys can feel free to like plug in your own goals and stuff. Yeah, cool. So you got a similar number. Amazing. The next one is obviously your cost per lead, right? So, most people, if you're buying leads from a vendor, you're going to pay like lowest for a fresh exclusive lead is going to be like 17 to 20 bucks. A lot of times more. What's the highest, or like not even highest? Let's just get something like average from who you're talking to on a day-to-day basis, Julian. What are people usually like spending for leads?
Man, there's some agencies where like they got mailers and stuff that go all the way out between like freaking $60 to $80.
Oh my God.
Digital leads, I'd say I usually see people paying between 20 and like 30 something.
Yeah.
But oftentimes they are like resold.
You said they were a couple weeks old?
No, they're resold. So
yeah. So there's like an exclusivity window or blah,
yeah,
blah, blah,
yeah.
blah,
It's
whatever,
like there's a ton of like fine print of like, yeah, it's yours, but it's yours for like, 3 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
it's whack.
For those of you guys on here, drop in the comments what you guys are currently paying per lead, just so we kind of have an idea. But I'm going to show you guys an example of like why cutting your lead costs is such a huge lever, in addition to some of these other numbers I talked about. But this is like a major one, right? So on average, our clients that we run their ads for, they pay an average of $8.06 per lead, right? So this is the average across like, I think this is 45 clients. Average cost is $8.06. And these are for fresh, exclusive Facebook leads that come in. And then also there's a percentage of them that will pre-book appointments on your calendar.
Let's check out these comments real quick. I see Vondo says $0 per lead, only referrals, and LaShawn says generating my own for $0. Are you also getting referrals, LaShawn? Yeah. I just had an interview and I was told fresh leads are $20. Jill Napolitano,
like the ice cream, or that's the Neapolitan.
Bunch of gringos out here, man. Anyways, let's dive back in.
Awesome. Cool. So who here wants to see the numbers of what it would actually look like for somebody to profit $250K? Cool. I'm going to show you anyway. So basically, if we look at these numbers, if somebody's going to profit, right, this is netting $250K after chargebacks, leads, everything. This is what it breaks out to. You would need about 23 leads per day. You would need to be spending about $190 per day on leads, or $1,300 a week. And then basically you would need to write about a policy and a half a day, shooting for about $35K per month in AP, right? So $35K per month, about $8K per week, and you would want to make about 284 dials per day. So basically, I'll show you guys a different example, right? Like let's say, for example, Jill mentioned paying $20 a lead. Watch what happens to these numbers. Now, all of a sudden, for us to make 250K, you're going to have to write 60K a month every single month and make 477 dials per day, which is just absolutely insane, right? So what you're really looking at here is a huge lever on getting these numbers manageable and achievable is literally just cutting your lead costs.
Well, Tim,
I think you said something about like $30 a lead too.
Yeah, I was going to say,
if you go there, it gets even crazier.
One of the biggest levers that I've seen, and this is why most agents actually fail, or the reason why they don't really see a ton of success. Go over really quickly, please, Tim, to the left side and put in, just put in $20 a lead. Let's use our friend Jill. as an example. So let's say that it takes her $200 per sale, and let's say she wants to make what's going on, Brett?
Brett, what's up?
Let's say that she also has an average policy size of where most people are at in the business, which is closer to about $62 a month, meaning like $720-ish AP.
Okay.
So now the reason why this business is so difficult is because most people are getting at least a 25% chargeback rate. They're writing about $60 a month. They're paying about $20 a lead. And so if you scroll over, look how hard it is to write to make 250 now.
It's impossible, basically.
It's pretty much impossible. And so with most people in the business, they would have to make almost $800 per day, and they'd have to do like crazy work and get that, over 10,000 leads, almost 15,000 leads. And they'd have to spend $285K on leads. Now, the reason why we switched over to the self-gen model and everything, if you go back over, if nothing changes, just go back to our $8 leads, Tim. When I saw this is when everything changed for me, because I remember Tim brought this up. Go right back over. If nothing changes, if you sell the same and nothing changes, your dials are cut over in half. And instead of spending $200 and some $1,000 on leads, now you're only spending $67K to make the same money. And
not quite in half, but pretty damn close.
Yeah, pretty close. And then let's say Jill says, I only want to make $100K. Right? Let's do 100. I think that's a better assessment too, because 250 is pretty ambitious for most.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Most people just starting out or whatever. So they want to have a life.
So let's go back. We'll do the $20 a lead. Like this is what most people are doing in the industry. 720 average policy size. And I mean, usually this is going to be higher and this is going to be lower, but we'll leave this where it's at. Just assuming these numbers.
And you can plug in your own numbers as well here.
Yeah. So to make 100K a year, you're making over 300 dials per day, writing 23K a month, and you're going to be spending like $8,000 a month on leads.
And you need to hit about 15 leads per day. Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, this isn't a bad situation at all. Like you're still going to be successful. It's just that you have to do more to be successful. And where most people are really going wrong is like a lot of cats don't even start out with 100% comps. Or their dials per sale are higher. And so they're aiming for, and this is how I'm speaking from experience. My upline when I first started was just like, dude, you're on pace to make 6 figures this year. There was no data. He told me I was going to make like $180, and there was no information to support that. There was zero information to support that. And I just believed it and kept going and was getting squeezed for overrides in a business model that wasn't favorable to me, the agent.
Yeah.
So I think it's important.
Let's adjust the numbers and just look at the difference. Like, let's say you start generating leads that are lower cost, and let's just say you get to 1,000 in terms of your average policy size, because you start, like, if you guys are selling face-to-face, depending on what states you're in, like you could be in a state where the average policy size is like closer to the 600 mark. And if you're not selling over the phone, the only people you're going to be exposed to are the people in that state. So your average policy size is going to be lower. But let's say you switch to over the phone. If you're doing face-to-face, your average policy size goes up to just 1,000 and your lead cost goes to $8. Look at how much easier this becomes. Now, all we're having to do is write 14 to 15K a month. We're making 136 dials a day, and we're spending about 1,400 a month on leads instead of $8,000 a month.
Yeah.
That's just two tweaks.
I think this is huge, especially for people starting out. If I had seen this starting out, like for example, Jill, if I was Jill, I hope you're sitting down, Jill. That for me, I would have had like a seizure if I'd seen this when I first started. So I hope you're seated and soaking this all in, because you can use this calculator. We have this available for you guys. You can use this calculator like for yourself, and you can use it. Like, for example, Travis says, what if the comp rate was 85? Like, dude, you can throw this in here and do it however you need to. And you can also plug in your own retention rate. And for most people, their dials per sale, if they're not getting proper sales training and help, could be significantly higher.
Yeah.
Their PPL might be off. So
I mean, dude, for most people, this is probably like 400 or 450, maybe even 500.
Yeah.
Sometimes even higher. Like, I'll see people that go weeks and weeks with no sales, and like they just don't have the proper sales training. Nobody's listening to their calls. There's no support, nothing, no script. I mean, this number can get in, like, I've seen this number in the thousands, like you were mentioning. It's entirely possible.
It can get pretty dark.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I love going over this with you guys. Like LaShawn says, thank you for walking us through this. Yeah, of course, dude. This is what we wish we had. You know what I mean? Like, I was told that, you know, if you just sold an annuity a week and 2 Medicares a day and 2 life insurance policies a day, that you'd be making crazy money. And I was like, man, only 1 annuity a week. Wow. Let me just do that.
Yeah, literally.
And it didn't happen that way, as we can see. But I'm glad it didn't, because now we get to share this with you guys, the reality of what's necessary to be successful to make 100K.
100%. 100%. So for those of you guys that are jumping on here, what questions do you guys have about like how to actually generate leads and start implementing something like this for yourself? Because like right now, if you're watching this and you're, you know, maybe you're just getting started, or you've been selling for a while and you're paying like $20 a lead, or maybe you don't even have a lead source and you're just getting referrals because you don't trust any of the lead vendors that are out there. This is the best way to get leads coming in at a low cost that, one, you know aren't going to be resold, and 2, you control the quality so you see literally exactly what the leads are seeing. But what questions do you guys have about like how this process works, maybe the numbers behind it, or how you could actually get this set up for yourself?
I watched your Facebook course and start with Effie.
Awesome. Yeah, if you guys haven't already gone through like the free course that we have, it's like this, but on steroids and much more in depth. So I would highly recommend anyone that hasn't gone through that to go through it. I can drop the link in this video if you guys want. I see Jill says, what policies are you selling? I'm not sure exactly how to answer that, so I'll just answer it the best way I know how. We sell mainly final expense, but sometimes, you know, like I had a guy, one of our clients, like a couple of days ago, there's a YouTube video that's going to come out about him. He wrote $4,800 in one day, and it was 2 IULs on a final expense lead. So like sometimes you're going to be writing different policies depending on what the client needs, but majority of the time we usually sell final expense. But depending on what the client needs, you might have to write something different, right? In terms of like the companies that we sell, there's like 7 carriers that we really recommend that cover most health questions, bill on time, and have really, really solid customer service for the clients.
Yeah. And we also do some mortgage protection stuff for agents who need help with that. I saw a question about mortgage protection.
Yep.
I'm not sure like what the question is. What does mortgage protection entail, please? Mortgage protection is helping people pay off their mortgage with a policy if they die. So, I mean,
right.
I know that might be like the worst answer that I could have given you, but I'm not sure I understand the question. So if I missed it or whatever, like let me know. But that's what mortgage protection is. Hopefully that helps. Term insurance. Oh, yeah, cool. All right.
Yeah, usually mortgage protection is term. But sometimes people will sell like a whole life policy. They call it equity protection. Those are going to be to like anyone that can't qualify for term or it doesn't really make sense for them. You can also sell like whole life. Mortgage protection is just like a concept. It's not an actual policy type usually.
Yeah. Usually it's done mostly for younger people with universal life plans, term plans. But like Tim was talking about, if they're older, you can do an equity protection plan with whole life insurance. So I know we have a few minutes left here, guys, before we wrap up for the day. We've obviously covered a ton. I know Jill is probably gonna order in some food tonight and rethink everything after this breakdown. No, I'm just kidding. But I guess like just really want to see if you guys have any questions in particular, or what questions you do have about any of this stuff. We dropped the free course below. Go through it, use it. We want to see more agents winning.
Yeah, 100%. Jill sends a smiley face, so I think that means she's definitely ordering in tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Get the cookies and cream ice cream from whatever that brand's called. It's really good.
Don't do Halo Top.
No, not Halo Top. It's the other one. It's got like the layers on it with like it's got like a chocolate layer in between and like the caramel.
Oh, Talenti.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Talenti.
Did I tell you I swore off sweets for a year?
When did that happen?
We were in the car on the way back from the beach the other day, and one of our buddies, Tanner, did like no sweets for a year. So I was texting him back and forth. I was like, screw it, I'm gonna do it. So September 14th until September 14th, 2025, no sweets.
Nice. Was this when we were in the car or another?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I was like, did you go to the beach?
I'm pretty. Yeah. No. It was when
Any questions? Any questions about Tim's sweets addictions? Anything at all?
Or lack thereof.
Yeah. Any questions? I don't think we have any questions.
Who's going to actually go through and like implement this into their business? Like who's going to start getting into the lead generation stuff as opposed to just buying leads?
Yeah, I'm curious to see about this one because most people are running this like a job when they need to start running it like a business. And that was the biggest shift I had mentally getting into this, after going independent from a captive agency. Was like, this is not a job. This is a business.
Brett says me. Awesome, man. Awesome.
Brett.
Sean says me. Cool.
Sean. Cool.
Awesome. So I know we dropped the free course. If you guys want our help to kind of show you guys how to set this up, and basically, actually, we don't even show you. We just do it all for you. Our whole team literally will just run the ads for you, set the whole campaign up so that all you have to do is just focus on sales. So if you guys would be like interested in that, I can also drop a link below as well. So just let me know. I can drop the link. You guys can book a time with our team to pretty much walk you through the whole process, like A to Z. Nelly says, what do you guys think about Google ads? Google ads are cool, but they're not as easy to scale as Facebook ads. And they're just a little more complex. Facebook tends to be better from what I've seen. Cool. Jill, I can drop that link for you and anyone else that wants this link. If you're watching the replay, it's going to be in the comments, or not in the comments, in the description below this video. So you guys can check that out as well. Send it to you now. Cool. That is dropped in the comments down below, and then if you're watching the replay, again, it's going to be in the description of the video.
Any possibility of you opening back up your agency? We do work with some agents on a pretty exclusive level. You have to have gone through our program though, just to make sure that like you actually have a feasible platform to run your business on. But great question, Mr. David. Would you practice on age leads, or should all dials be on high ROI leads? I mean, Grant, that's a
really good question, actually.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think it depends on partially your skill set and your capital. One of the biggest things that I recommend to people is like, if you've got a couple grand to invest in your business, like if you can get access to capital funding, or if you just have cash of like, I usually suggest like maybe 3K or more to be able to like really like, make sales, invest in your business. Then a system like ours where you're able to generate new exclusive leads and be able to like call like the high ROI leads you're talking about, I think that's the best way to go about it. If you're sub 3K and you have no sales experience and like, you can't get access to capital, whether it's credit or any additional like third-party funding, whatever, at that point then I say, hey, like by all means, definitely hit aged leads, cut your teeth on them. And once you've made some sales, then go out and invest in a system like ours to start growing your business and put it on hyperdrive. Because if you always do aged leads, it's like, oh God.
Yeah. Just to add on to that too, I mean, like maybe this is a little contrarian, but in my opinion, like if you don't have enough money to start either buying leads or like generating your own and doing that, I don't even think that you should be in this business, particularly as a broker, because like when you become a broker, you are a business owner. And I don't recommend trying to start a business with no money. So if you don't have any capital, I mean, you can get your license. And then if you sell a couple policies to friends and family, people you know, whatever, use that money to reinvest. But like the amount of times that I'll see people get into the insurance industry and like they don't even have like, you know, $1,000 to their name. And they're like, how do I make this work? I don't have any money to buy leads. That's a really tough spot to be in. So I'm not saying that this is necessarily your situation, but if it is, and just in general, I don't recommend trying to go the broker route if you don't have like any cash. It's tough to make work because there are expenses that come along with being a business owner.
Yeah. And this is the lowest barrier to entry you can get into business. Like to get into real estate, I mean, you have to have like tens of thousands of dollars plus, and that's if you're lucky, right? Like for some projects, you got to have millions of dollars. For this, it's like you got to have a couple of, a few grand, and you can go out and start a business. You can go get a credit card and make that happen. But like it really just comes down to like your situation. So great question. That's a good one for the replay. Thanks for showing out, guys. We're going to wrap it up here. You guys have a good one. And if you guys want to talk to us more about, how we can help you guys get to a crazy position in your business, fill out the link, go out there, book a call, and we'll see if we can help. See you in the next one.
Peace. See y'all.